The off-season is off to a rousing start, and the news still keeps coming. There will likely be a few announcements as I work on this video, as a matter of fact. However, I wanted to get this video out before the free agency begins to keep all of you up to date with the goings-on in the Overwatch scene. I'm hoping to make this video more organized than last time, but will still put news announced while in the making of this video into the end. With that, let's get started. Atlanta Reign are reportedly re-signing Kai, Hawk and Gator. Now, this doesn't mean the others are going to be dropped, just this was reported on first. I definitely think this is the move. They have a very strong core heading into Season 5, they finished the season 2nd place and at the top of NA. Not really much to say other than I hope we get the Korean news soon. Boston Uprising have dropped Kaluhex, IM37, Stand1 and My Unbong, allowed Gibalsai to explore free agency and had Fusions retire. Fusions and Kaluhex don't surprise me. IM37 I thought was pretty good but understandable, but I am genuinely shocked that they dropped My Unbong and Stand1. Both are great players who were stars on Boston. I can only assume they want opportunities elsewhere. My Unbong in particular is a phenomenal Zen which could be crucial next year. Supposedly, the only Ray signing we know about is Punk, which I think is decent as he was very good last season, but I understand their thinking. 7 and 9 is a pretty poor season, but honestly I feel their biggest issues were flexibility rather than player talent. Hopefully the coaching staff gets swapped around as well. And it is sad to see Fusions retire. He was a hard carry in the World Cup a few years ago, but it seems the league took a mental toll on him. I wish him the best. Next, Dallas have dropped on, an assistant coach they've had since Season 3. His loss hurt, as the coaching staff really elevated the Fuel to where they ended up despite their poor situation, but they still have Rush, and can likely pick up a new talent with ease. Next, the Florida Mayhem have dropped their entire roster aside from Yaki, who is expected to be traded. This hurts. They had a lot of promise heading into the season and even early on but were just boomed after a few losses. It's pretty sad what happened to them, but I can understand why they would want a total rebuild after a 4-12 season. Having a total of 1 win over 12 games is unacceptable. I wish all these players the best, though. Yaki already has interest, but BQB and Gangnam Jin will likely be picked up as well. More unsure about Slime and OGE, unfortunately. Next we have the Hangzhou Charge. They released Michael Lee, Jaehan, Karive and Mandu. Michael Lee and Jaehan make sense. They were poor and didn't get much playtime this year, but Karive and Mandu were their starting supports. Granted, they didn't play all that well either, and I'm not surprised they want a new backline. Honestly not much to say here except that these were tough but smart cuts by Hangzhou. Who they'll pick up, though, is the bigger question. Maybe the support line of our next team, the Hangzhou Spark, why drop Ike, Mika, Coldest and Xiaomisu. My heart breaks a bit whenever a former runaway player leaves the league. Granted, Xiaomisu didn't play nearly at all this season for whatever reason, so can't be too surprised. Then, Mika and Coldest won't play too much either, but when they were in, they seemed good, probably better than the McD and Ike backline. However, it seems now that they have identified their supports as a weakness and are looking to rebuild, which doesn't surprise me. I'd also hope for them to sign another DPS as well to round them out a bit. In my opinion, a good projectile player is what they need. Next, the London Spitfire had released every player except for Spark and Shax, as well as their head coach Fisher. They are also looking to sign the Fusion assistant coach, Christopher, the one who is Chips' brother. Overall, I feel sorry for the British Hurricane guys, but this was smart. You can't go 1-15 and expect to stay in the league. A few of these guys are LFT, and I could see Blaz and Molfwamji getting picked up, but the others might need to go back to contenders and grind. For their coach, I think Christopher is an interesting option. He had some mixed results with Philly but overall seems solid. It will be exciting to see how they rebuild. Honestly have no clue what they'll do. Next up, the Los Angeles Gladiators have released Mirror and Mus, and Birdring confirmed his retirement. Birdring leaving is tragic. He was still a top 10 DPS in the world and has been cracked over the 5 years of his career. He's an OG, since he duoed with Profit on the London Spitfire and won. He'll be missed. As for the releases, Mirror somewhat makes sense. Outside of a Duum first meta, he is a downgrade from Givster, and they likely want someone more flexible. But Mus makes no sense to me. I thought he worked great with the team. He was a main tank that was very flexible and didn't require a lot of resources to stay alive. This was even his rookie year. He could have improved even more. I can't imagine he doesn't get picked up. The first choice would likely be Philadelphia, as his playstyle is similar to Mano's, but we don't know every release just yet. Next, the New York Excelsior have dropped every player aside from JJonak and Flora. While these guys were easily the best parts of the roster, I would have liked to see Cleo's return. I thought he was solid. But I can't say I'm surprised. This was a hasty rebuild full of flawed rookies. They did improve at the end, which gave me hope that they could continue as a squad, but alas. I see the team continuing to rebuild around JJonak and Flora. There are a few players that could turn this team into a top tier one again, but I don't know if New York want to shell out the money. Next is that the Fusion have released Shockwave, lost Toby to retirement, and Eco is a free agent now. They also dropped Christopher. Now, this is unfortunate, but it appears that the Fusion are going full Korean. They have dropped or made all of their Western players and coaches free agents. It's a shame, as they have a lot of the best Western talent out there, but I guess they don't want any more visa issues, and maybe better synergy without the language barrier. It just sucks, as they were originally marketed as a team that thrived on diversity. But on to the players. I can't imagine Shockwave doesn't get picked up. The guy is still a beast on hitscan and a decent amount of projectile heroes. Same goes for Eco. The Fusion are now in the market for a main tank, and a Lucio player as well, but considering their money they can probably find the top talent available, so don't worry too much. Next, Ans, Smurf, Glister and Striker all posted free agencies in the past few days. I know it seems bad, but it remains to be seen how many are leaving. Smurf and Twilight I kind of expect to leave, as they are top tier talent and likely want starting positions, but Striker will probably want to stay with Krusty, and Ans is still a beast. Can't imagine Shock giving him up. Glister is a bit of a question mark, but he still deserves a spot on the roster. Shock will likely have to be rebuilding should they actually lose a lot of players, but they have a solid core to build around, should nothing else happen. I'm not too worried. Next, the Shanghai Dragons have re-signed their whole roster except for Develop, but dropped assistant coach Jfeel and Dongsu. Develop got zero playtime, so it isn't exactly surprising, but I think Jfeel will be missed. He is, I believe, the only coach other than Krusty to win 2 championships, especially 2 so far spaced out is impressive. I don't know the extent that he was involved with the championship this year, but he is likely highly valuable to other teams. Maybe Seoul or the Shock could use him. Next, the Washington Justice have released Tuba and Closer and Hokuri, and have picked up Tidala from the Gladiators. Good pickup from coaching. Coaching was a massive flop this season, and picking up someone from the immensely better Gladiators is definitely a good move. As for the players, Tuba I feel for, he was so poorly handled. He is a great player, but the coaching couldn't figure out how to use him and put him on brig duty all year. As for where he could go, Krusty had said he liked his work ethic and wants to work with him, so I could see him on the Shock if Nero does end up retiring. Closer I still feel is good, but definitely underperformed this season. I can see him being picked up, however. Finally, the Vancouver Titans are rumored to drop their entire roster again and rebuild. Shocker, I know. Just kidding, they're going through the London effect right now, rebuilding after such an abysmal season. Hopefully Vancouver decides to spend some money this time around. I don't want a repeat of the last 2 years. Please OG, be good for once. Finally, some news from Halo. JJonak is reportedly leaving New York after 4 long years. It's a shame. I think he really wanted to win a lot with that squad, but I can understand him being frustrated with not winning or even doing that well with his team in 2021. I can see him going to Seoul, replacing Creative. He's still cracked and would be an upgrade anywhere. Will be exciting to see, though. That's it for this video. Please remember to like and subscribe for more. I upload almost daily Overwatch League content and am trying to hit 100 subs by Season 5, so any subscription helps greatly. Thanks.